Hey,
Hey, man.
it's nice to talk to you guys. Ian, I've been a big fan for a long time.
Fuck yeah.
Um, so I want to start off with on the day that Charlie was shot, there was also a school shooting. And I
Colorado,
want to
right?
yes.
Yeah.
So I want to address any parents that are listening. I really encourage you go to your kids' schools, talk to the principals, talk to the resource officers, talk to the superintendents. What can we do? Um, sorry, I'm a little nervous.
You're okay.
Um, and if you see holes in the defenses, like I kind of pointed out some at my kid's school, I see these problems where if somebody gets in, they can kind of see this is the button that lets them into the next area. Um, so yeah, I just want to start out with a call to any parents, um, on the subject of Charlie and then all the people celebrating that. How can we move forward with these people? I know I'd love peace, but there's so much rage. And part of the problem is some of the people are evil, and then, but others are misguided. They've been lied to for 10 years, and you can't convince them, even if you show them evidence. So, how can we move forward from this point on, cohabitating with these people? Because there's a lot of them, and, they're not going away.
There's a question I've been asking myself the last week, and that's if Charlie could somehow know that these events transpired, if he was somehow aware of what happened to him, be it afterlife or premonition or knowing it was coming, would he still sit there and have these conversations knowing that ultimately it would be the last thing that he did? And it really seems like he would. Even if he knew that his life was on the line, even if he knew that he was going to take this sort of a fall, if it was worth it for him to keep that conversation going regardless, to show that that's the kind of person that he was and that's the kind of people that we should ultimately be. And I can't help but think that that's exactly what he would have done, and that's exactly what he would have wanted, is for us to keep the conversation going, like Ian said at the beginning of the show. And I think, as difficult as it's going to be, it's up to us to carry that. And there's going to be all kinds of situations, people that disagree, people that want to seek violence over this sort of thing. Charlie's thing was keep having the conversation, and continue to show that you're right, but continue to keep having the conversation. I feel like we absolutely have to do that, and hopefully. Hopefully the violence can cease at some point. I don't understand the reason for it. I really don't. I don't understand why people have to die for these types of ideals. I don't understand why these people think that people need to die for these ideals. It's madness, and it's pure evil in my opinion. But there's only one way to vanquish that, and that's to keep fighting back. And the way that Charlie did it was by continuing to talk.
I agree. So with that in mind, I would also say, let's all go sign up for tpusa.com, if you're so inclined.
tpusa.com. You know what I did? I started making, I made a video, and just to tell people how I was feeling about Charlie and about things, and it was very real. It was very real. I just decided to be vulnerable, and then I put it on Facebook, which is something... I got a lot of friends from 20, 25 years ago that from Los Angeles, my friends that are actors, people, that's the network if I'm on that where they'll be like, I'm glad. And I just put it there anyway. And people reached out to me that I had, one girl I hadn't seen and talked to in 27 years. She reached out to me and she's like, you got to come see us next time you're in Ohio. And it's like reconnecting past connections that I didn't expect. So that's like an immediate result.
Yeah. Yeah. And I saw your video and I was right there with you, man. I didn't expect his death to affect me like that. And it did. I didn't sleep for 3 days. Just could not sleep. It just felt wrong. and I didn't even know the guy. I'd never met him, but um, he led me back to church. I was a teenager. I lived a life of blasphemy, and 2 years ago, uh, just watching enough Charlie Kirk, I was like, I think this is the way. And I'm not, even today, I'm not a believer in God, but I feel like those are my people. Those are the people I want to be around. Um, and I appreciate the morals, and I'm open to it. And actually, so the day Charlie was shot, I was on a walk with my daughter, and I found this coin on the ground. And around the outside, it says, I got it written down, John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. And that was 20 minutes later, my dad called me and said, Charlie Kirk was just killed.
So we've been talking a little bit about coincidence and things like that. Do you think that was a coincidence? Do you think it was divine that you found that coin before that to kind of remind you of keep a steadfast approach, or?
I don't know, but it has the 10 Commandments on one side, and on the other side, it has a bit more. But I tell you what, I've been keeping in my pocket ever since.
We got to be smart. Like, obviously, if you study ancient history, if a vile government takes over and destroys opponents, it will erase them from history. So there is always the risk that if we allow ourselves to be vulnerable and keep doing what we think is right, uphold the virtues, the U.S. Constitution, that we would lose, and that the evil victors would erase us from history completely, and it would all be forgotten and for naught. Perhaps there is that potential, but at the same time, to go out in a way that you believe may just inspire people to keep it going, and that's probably better than huddling. I actually said that today on a video, and it, again, without being redundant, because like repeating what I did on a video earlier today on another video is like, did you see the video? Whatever. But like going out in a huddled terror is not the way I want not the imprint I want to leave on the world. But we do have to be smart at the same time.
Yeah. Smart and vigilant.
Tactical.
Smart and vigilant, but stay true to the principles that have gotten us to this point.
I agree. I don't want to take up too much time, but I have two more things I want to say. Okay. So in regards to, you guys were talking earlier about Charlie being nice, but not kind, or vice versa.
I'll own it. I said it technically, but yeah.
Okay. So one thing I always tell my daughter is that kindness is not always kindness. You have people that will placate morbidly obese people and tell them they're just fine. That's kindness with air quotes, but that's not real kindness. You know what I mean? So
yeah, because you're not really helping those people by telling them that.
Right. And so that's what I think Charlie was spreading kindness, but it just didn't feel that way to the people that felt attacked, because they're stuck with, I don't know how to say this, just with the life that they've lived and the things they've been told.
Yeah, he was tough love the whole way. With me too, face to face. I love the guy. But he wouldn't be like, "Hey, fat ass, you're fat." He wouldn't like say that. He'd be like, "You can be thin, and here's how."
Right.
That's the kind.
Exactly. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, that is exactly. That's it. That's the differential between kindness and wrath, or whatever the opposite of kindness. I think it's wrath. Is there's two ways to try and get through to someone. One is you can beat them over the head with their problem. The other way is you can show them the solution. And he was very solution oriented.
Yeah, that goes back to the truth isn't always pretty, but sometimes it's exactly what you need to hear. And that's
right.
The reality of what Charlie did. He was telling people things that people needed to hear. And unfortunately, it fell on a lot of deaf ears. But he was also trying to educate what seemed like a large following of people who did not want to be told that they were wrong about anything that they believed in. So he took on a pretty big chore, a pretty big task. I think he handled it as well as anybody could be expected to handle it. And that's the inspiration that personally I want to keep going forward. It's just in that face of adversity that he just kept doing what he did, and he was good at it.
Yeah. And then my last thing is a question I've had for Ian for a very long time. And I never thought I'd have the opportunity to ask him. So I'm a big believer in meditation too. Meditation got me off of any medications that I had been on. And I thought it was hippy dippy mumbo jumbo before that, but it really works. And it's made me a much better person. But how do you maintain that peace within yourself, considering your time on Timcast with all the political news and the bad that you hear? Because there was a long time where I had to stop watching Timcast because it was affecting, my inner peace. But eventually that didn't feel right either, because then I was out of the know, and it's better to know than to not know.
I think that I had a very similar crash out during that period where I basically got rid of all social media, and didn't actually bring any of those accounts back until I actually got here and started working for IWL, because I needed that kind of that break too mentally. During that time, it just felt very like something very, very heavy was in the air riding on your shoulders every day you woke up, even if it didn't directly involve you, it did. And I think sometimes mentally you need to take those steps away, whether it means pausing your accounts, not looking at them, throwing your phone in the corner for a weekend. I like to do that sometimes. Just, if whatever comes in, I'll deal with it on Monday. Sometimes just getting your mind out of that is everything that you need to be able to go a little bit further and take, the pressures and the abuse of the modern day world and keep moving on, with if nothing more than like a half-ass smile on your face. Because that's what's expected of a lot of people nowadays. Just bear the burdens and keep moving on. So I think that was a necessary thing that you did, man. And I get to missing that calling and being out of the loop too, and being like, okay, shit, maybe I should get back on, and try to find out what's going on, taking your finger off the pulse of society, and missing what's going on out there. But every now and then we're in a time right now where we're all so connected, by the internet and by social media and things like that, that you're experiencing a life that, 30, 40 years ago would have never been seen. Being exposed to mass amounts of people that no one had ever been exposed to before. No one's ever been connected like this ever. So we're entering a stage, and have been in a stage for a while, where we need mental breaks. Otherwise it can be so much that it just causes you to go insane.
I had a similar experience, 2023. I basically, when I was the co-host with me and Tim, were doing it 5 days a week, and I essentially could sense I was about to have a nervous breakdown, and I went up into Tim's office one day and I was like, dude, I'm about to lose my fucking mind. I can't do this right now. I can't. I'm losing my shit. It was some personal stuff. I'd broken up with my girlfriend at the time, and had just really was dark, and my dark energy was affecting the show. I could feel it. And he's so he's such a deeply amazing human being underneath. Like it's I don't want to say you don't know, but I don't know if you haven't spent time with him, if you'll ever really know, or if you can know what a kind guy he is. Like, you see it when he's with little kids and with animals, non-human animals. And he was like, he prioritized my physical health first, and I kind of bounced for a while. I took like a couple months off and went to Miami with Luke and did the cleanse. Ultimately, it led me to the intestinal cleanse, and I was like, I want to do ayahuasca. And my friend who was like worked with shaman were like, well, you should do a cleanse, because people want to go do the thing. Like, it's a process. It's part of a process of healing. You need to heal yourself, and it starts with cleanse. And that helped my mind a lot. But now I'm in a state. And then Hannah Claire came and joined for a while, and then Phil came and joined, and now Phil's takes that spot. And there's still like, Ian, anytime you want to do fifth chair, come in and sit anytime. And I know, and Tate's there now, and Tate likes to do fifth chair a lot. So I kind of just defer to whoever wants to be there. But I've committed to at least one day a week, and I still pay attention to what's happening. But I really try and get my brain healthy so that when I'm there, I can be my best.
Gotcha.
Oh, hey, man.
All right. Well,
I was going to say, we're going to get to another caller here, but do you have anything you want to shout out here before we let you go?
The last thing I want to say is that they say Ian rolls a lot of 1s or 20s, but Tim rolls a lot of 7s. So,
ooh, you can rely on Tim. And that's because I'm a critical thinker for critical misses or critical hits.
Hey, man, proficiency bonus is everything.
Give me that +8.
Exactly.
+8.
It's all about the proficiency
It's
bonus,
been
in my
nice.
opinion. You can have a shitty roll. If that proficiency bonus is high enough, you're going to have success.
+20, baby.
Yeah. Dirty
Yeah.
20s or 20s too. So, well, hey, man, we appreciate
right.
you calling in,
Good
man.
talking to you guys.
See ya, man.
Have a good night.